And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. The grizzly bear is one of the strongest and most impressive mammals in North America. It is a symbol of Canadian wilderness. The grizzly is able to run at speeds of 45 kilometers per hour and can weigh up to 400 kilograms. More than half of Canada's 26,000 grizzlies live in British Columbia. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 2002.
It started out as a legendary Northwest tale of a bear that would linger down into the Hungry Hill area and kill precious cattle. The intriguing bear's killing habits, such as its taste for beef and its ability to escape conservation officers time and time again, was somewhat of a mystery. As it turned out in the fatal end, the almost 10-foot-tall grizzly was not only bigger and stronger than the rest, but also the cause of some serious debates, thus continuing the tale of the Hungry Hill grizzly bear to this day. Two groups, Northwest Wildlife for the Future and the Houston Chamber of Commerce, made applications for the 1,000-pound bear. Reed White of the Ministry of Water, Land, and Air Protection had the task of figuring out what the fate of the bear would be.
I believe that the two applications for an educational purpose had merit, and both applications were very good. The first decision was then for the bear to remain in the valley as an educational purpose, and that had more value to us as residents of the province and to our guests than it did as dollars in the general revenue.
The town of Smithers was issued the permit to possess the bear on January 14th. Chamber President Brad Woodland says Houston was disillusioned in the process and the ministry did not follow due process. He's angered guidelines and criteria weren't established until it was too late.
And in fact, the ministry in control of determining who was going to be in possession of the bear hide. Because there was no criteria established by the ministry, the people of Houston had no other really choice than to believe that there was bias in the process. And I believe that's where all of the hard feelings come from.
White says both groups had merit with the applications, but it boiled down to the educational side of things. White says the Smithers group won the bear because their application asked to set up the bear site now rather than later. Houston, on the other hand, is still waiting on the development of their brand new ecotourism center. White says the airport also seemed like the best bet to cater tourism and rubber tire traffic.
I think it'll have fairly good exposure, and it certainly will have the opportunity to be viewed by school groups too, and will hopefully also be used by First Nations people to describe the role of grizzly bears in their culture.
Woodland isn't in agreement. He says Minister Joyce Murray was asked to intervene but didn't respond until 2 weeks after the decision was made. He feels the Houston proposal was good enough for educational purposes.
The other proposal, which consisted of a one-page letter asking for the bear hide, and our multiple-page proposal with color photos and diagrams, etc., a far more detailed proposal, and we didn't get it. What would you think?
The manager of the Smithers Chamber of Commerce agrees with the ministry that the airport provides the right spot for educational purposes. Brian Burrell says the location will provide the Northwest with publicity at a spot where hunters, fishermen, and travelers will be able to view it.
And having the regional airport here, that the bear would get the most exposure. So we would not only have tourists be able to view it, could be used as a tourist attraction, that it also would be available for school children and tourists to go through the airport and view the bear. So we thought there was actually two purposes that the bear could be served in Smithers, whereas that may not be the case if it was located somewhere else.
The historic beauty, measuring 9 foot long by 9 foot 6 inches wide, bears it all for the first time at the Smithers Airport on November 1st. And there, the grizzly will rest, or rather stand, mounted in his case, for the whole world to see. Houston says they will speak up again in 2007 when the permit expires.
It is the bear, as much as the story that went along with the bear, that was of great interest to the people of Houston.
But forever into the future, no matter if in Houston or Smithers, both sides agree, the bear will always be a Northwest legend.
Oh, yeah.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. The lapel poppy should be worn during the remembrance period from the last Friday in October till November 11th. The Legion encouraged wearing poppies at the funerals of veterans and for any commemorative event, such as a memorial service or the anniversary of the Battle of Vimy Ridge. Let us return to the archives with Bill Bennett.
In 1944, Bill Bennett was a warrant officer with the Canadian Scottish as they hit the beaches in the invasion of Europe.
First of all, putting up there, just over my knees, between my knees and my waist in the water. And so we get to the beach and we hit a bank there, they told us. They didn't know it was there. And the LCA swung around and they opened up. We lost 2 men at the beach. And that's what we did hit. That's all we did hit until quite a few days after that. But we climbed up onto the beach and got together and went to the different places where we were led. And I don't know, we just stayed there until we different places we were in. We started digging foxholes and getting what meals the biscuits we got sent up to us. Not very many good biscuits.
Poor eyesight kept Terrace native Bob Cooper out of frontline action, so he worked in the Royal Canadian Army Service Corps running transport convoys in Britain.
I hadn't been there very long, and they gave me a motorcycle. So then we had to handle convoys all around Britain with no signs, because during the invasion they'd taken all the road signs down, so you had a pretty good navigator to get. You know, you might have 25, 30, 35 trucks, and you'd have 4 or 5 motorcycles and go back and forth and running on point here and there, keeping everybody going. So that was a pretty hectic time.
Curly Casey gave up the rank of sergeant and his job as a medical instructor in an attempt to get to the frontline action, instead ending up with a medical discharge before he could join his friends.
It's one of those things when you're over there or whatever job you're doing, it's the same as your everyday working jobs. Actually, you never know what's going to happen next, so it's a chance. You take it to have a brother-in-law that died in Hong Kong, and I had one of the boys in the Navy that I wanted to be with, and he was on the English Channel, and he had 5 torpedo boats shot out from underneath him. Never got a scratch. Come home to Ottawa and stepped off the streetcar tracks at Bank and Sparks in Ottawa and got hit with a car. Killed instantly.
The 3 veterans downplay their contributions to the war effort.
It wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy either. We was wear the same clothes all the time, as you know. And of course, being the first, we never got that fine clothes that the Americans had. We soon found that out. The most important thing was to get a good time, was to get some sleep and get something decent to eat. You didn't know. Nobody knew exactly where they were going or who was going or who was coming back again. You just bumped into fellas you hadn't seen for a couple of days. But you don't think of those things. You just dig in, and you're always digging in a hole someplace.
I think everybody more or less thought it was their duty, I think. And I know my 2 brothers did, and they both went right through the whole of Europe, and I down in Sicily and Italy, all the whole thing. And one of them went to Korea and stuff like that. That too, and after it, but they just figured it. I think you either and you like it. I think myself, I enjoyed every bit I did in it.
Yeah, I think when you start in on that, you start thinking about all your friends that didn't come back, you know.
I decided.
And you wonder whether it was worthwhile, but of course in the end it was. But when you lose close friends, it makes you wonder. But it's not an easy question to answer, because if you're looking for the answer of was it worthwhile, yes it was. But would you do it again? You probably would.
At the time, though, they had no idea of what they had achieved.
After we did, but not when we were doing it. We didn't know what we were doing. No, they never tell you anything until after it's all over. Then they tell you what it was all about. And we lost I don't know how many men we lost there, but it was hard fighting for a while. Not for long though. And then we went in, and I just don't know where they took us to. As a matter of fact, you don't know half the time where you are, but you just do what you're told.
In the eyes of a man born during the war, they are all heroes.
This is a generation following these gentlemen. I appreciate what they've done, because I'm positive that because of their hard work and labour and giving their lives up, that's why we're here today. And we have to show tribute to them with Remembrance Day, and it's something that certainly should never, hopefully not in their lifetime or in my lifetime, be ever forgotten. They gave their lives so that we could have the freedom that we have today, and we cannot ever forget them.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. It is said where country music began, and its influence on a genre today holds strong. Some of Nashville's most famous names are the Allman Brothers, Hank Williams, and Dolly Parton. In addition, many country singers reference Nashville as their home due to the huge influence on country music. Let us return to archives with Theresa Fenger.
Theresa Fenger is only 15 years old, but in the short span of 15 years, she's accomplished what a lot of people only hope to do in a lifetime. Theresa was born with the talent to sing, and as she would tell you, singing and performing to a crowd is what she loves best.
My mom said that when I was like 5, they recorded me, I think it was like in the bathtub or something. I was singing Little Mermaid. I always loved the Disney shows like Little Mermaid and all those things. And so, she taped me singing in the bathtub. And I guess I loved singing from then. And she was thinking, oh, when she grows up, she'll be a singer.
Fenger was the recipient of a scholarship from the Terrace Music Festival at the age of 12. From there, she enlisted in music lessons and, with the help of her parents, Ewald and Virginia, began her journey. Just this past year, Fenger went on a summer trip to Nashville. There, Theresa recorded some songs, was approached by a recording company, and appeared on numerous radio stations. She says the trip to the U.S. opened up a whole new world for her.
So I recorded there every day. A lot of hard work. Like 8 o'clock in the morning, I'd have to vocalize for like an hour, go over my songs, and then I'd have to record in the morning. And you can't be sharp, you can't be flat, you have to be perfect, do the song over and over and over. No, it's hard work.
Theresa's mom, Virginia, says she discovered her daughter's talent at the age of 4.
She was yodeling in the bathroom. Yo-hoo! And I was closing my ears. Not too much. She was so loud. And then I told it to my relatives. And then they sent us this karaoke machine with mic on. And then 4 years old, she started singing like crazy. She memorized the song, this Disney songs, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and then she memorized the whole song. Even then, I recorded it because I know. And then I asked her, how old are you? She said, I'm 5 years old. So there you go. I said, oh God, she got a talent, you know?
Theresa's dad Ewald said he didn't give his daughter's talent too much thought. He didn't want her to get her hopes up that a life of stardom was in the future.
Basically, I didn't believe in the outcome, what it is right now. So I really was surprised how all those things unfold to her and to us, you know. And that we gave it a shot. I never regret anything, and I'm good we did it. And as I said, I can't praise my wife too much about that, because she was a pushing force on it, you know.
Along with many other talented local artists, Sight and Sound of Terrace is dedicated to promoting new talent by helping them develop their music in the studio and help sell their CDs. Harold Dumont says Theresa is destined to do well in her future.
Theresa is amazing. From a little girl that was 10 months old, packing around a microphone, couldn't even talk yet, but understood what that whole idea was all about. And then how she's progressed. You know, mom and dad's seen her 4 years old in the tub with a bar of soap singing to it. Really, you know, cute little stories like that you hear. And then now you see her at the age of 15 and just coming home from Nashville, and she's had all kinds of wonderful things. She's fantastic. She's going to do really well in her life as long as she just stays with it and really goes for it.
Fenger started out performing at Riverboat Days, the Fall Fair, Rosswood Jamboree, the Terrace View Lodge, and most recently at her own concert. She says if she does hit it big in the future, there's no way she would forget her Terrace roots.
Well, obviously, I think it would change me a bit, yeah, because there'd be cameras everywhere and stuff like that. Yeah, it'd probably change me. Hopefully, I won't change my personality. I want to stay the same. Yeah, keep my friends. I'd probably get a house here and get a house in Nashville. I'd come back here for vacation and stuff and hang with my friends.
Fenger says in the meantime, her first CD release featuring a country side called Me and You Forever and a pop side called Dancing on Air will be in stores in the next few weeks. She's hoping to go back to Nashville and get more experience singing around town, maybe even make a music video. But most importantly, Theresa Fenger says she's out in the world fulfilling her dreams.
I'm hoping to be like another Shania Twain, another like big star singer. Go around, travel, and see different places and sing there, tour around, have like music videos, concerts, and the whole thing. I'm aiming for that, so hopefully it'll come, hopefully.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
According to the World Taekwondo Federation website, Taekwondo is one of the most systematic and scientific Korean traditional martial arts that teaches more than just physical fighting skills. It is a discipline that shows ways of enhancing your spirit and life through training in body and mind. In this final segment of Open Connection, we return to the archives with Sabrina Burton.
11-year-old Sabrina Burton took up the sport less than 2 years ago and has never once felt the intimidation of being a girl competing in martial arts.
Very happy to be a girl in this sport. In fact, I'm the only girl green belts in my belt level.
How does that make you feel?
Pretty proud.
For Sabrina, there are numerous reasons as to why she has found the sport so enjoyable.
It is a good self-defense because you can learn to defend yourself against all kinds of dangers. You're always moving, you're always sweating, you're always getting up and trying your hardest.
Especially at the tournament. That is when Sabrina says she tries to really let herself shine. That is also, in fact, one of Sabrina's favorite things about Taekwondo.
You get so hyper before you do your pumase and your sparring that when you finally do them, it's just getting out all the stress, and it's funny to watch and meet new friends.
At a tournament held earlier this month in Prince Rupert, Sabrina placed first in her patterns and third in sparring, which is of course something that makes her parents very proud.
This sport has also taught her a lot of self-confidence. It's given her a more of an assurance value in our system. It also gives her some, it's given her a lot of insight into herself. So she's become personally aware of her own body and what she can do with it.
Both Sabrina and her father say the knowledge and the skills she has learned with Taekwondo have helped her out with her education.
Sometimes when you're in your school and people ask you all kinds of different questions, you concentrate on one thing. It's exactly like Taekwondo. You concentrate on doing your patterns and your sparring. In school, you do the same thing.
It's helped her in school. Her grades and everything are coming together. The more she gets involved here, the more she wants to get involved in school. This year she's got an interest in band. Now she wants to play badminton, but she's gearing it all around her Taekwondo.
Although she is only 11, Sabrina predicts Taekwondo is something that will be a big part of her future.
I'd probably go into the Olympics, but right now I'm just settling with the tournaments for starters.
There were over 800 construction workers in Kumano at the peak of activity. The Suwakin camp now resembles a ghost town. Only a handful of people working for a company with a maintenance contract are still there. The place looks like the biggest Ford dealership in the north, with dozens and dozens of trucks and other vehicles up on blocks. The new powerhouse, where up to 180 people a day were working, is in a state of suspended animation. The transformer gallery has turned into a kind of storage tomb for all kinds of parts and equipment. And some of the transformers that should have been installed by now sit outside in a containment site. Most of the materials need continuing care and maintenance.
If we want to maintain any type of a warranty, especially with the critical electrical equipment, we have to ensure that there's certain precautions taken when the equipment is both received and inspected throughout the life of the suspension. So what our contractor will do under our guidance is take this apart and ensure that, say, silica gel is maintained up to date, that the packaging is kept so that there's no humidity or no moisture, creating a situation that will make some of the equipment rust, as an example.
Sprinkler systems, storage buildings, containment dikes, it all adds up to a great deal of money that will produce no lasting benefit to the project in the end. With no experience in mothballing such a huge hydro development, many of the snags just couldn't be foreseen.
I don't think we anticipated most of what's going on now. Most of the equipment and materials that's coming in for the turbines and generators, I don't think anybody really anticipated exactly what we would get into. Since we've suspended 2 years ago, we've taken delivery of the 12,000 tons I was talking about. That involved almost 200 containers. These are 20 and 40-foot containers. Involved almost 200 trailers of material. It's an enormous amount of material for a group that's supposed to be suspended to disassemble, to inspect, to record, and then to store. Tremendous problems.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.